The National Broadcasting Company presents the National Football League. Today, from Candlestick Park, it's the Denver Broncos versus the San Francisco 49ers. Brought to you by Budweiser, Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. By Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? And by Delta Airlines. We love to fly, and it shows.
Candlestick Park, San Francisco, a beautiful football Sunday. It's sunny in the mid-70s, no appreciable wind, and what could be a record crowd is here, near 65,000 to see the Broncos and the 49ers. San Francisco is 4-1, a touchdown favorite. Denver somewhat desperate. If they lose, the defending AFC champions will be 2-4. Welcome aboard, Dick Enberg with Merlin Olsen. The 49ers won the toss and will receive Rich Carlos to kick it off for Denver and White. John Taylor and Doug DeBose are deep for San Francisco. Taylor, number 82 on the far side, returned to punt 77 yards for a touchdown against Detroit last week here at Candlestick. Denver has won the last 3 times. They have played the 49ers. And San Francisco and Bill Walsh well aware of that. Walsh reminding his players they want to go 5-1, stay with the Rams in the West. We're underway. It spins down at the 7-yard line. DeBose, the former Nebraska star, at the 20. On his feet to the 25. Knocked out of bounds by Sam Grady and Tyrone Braxton. An 18-yard return. Here come the 49ers and Joe Montana, Tom Rathman, and Roger Craig. The Husker back attack. 2 former Nebraska Cornhuskers, Craig and Rathman. Wilson and the brilliant Jerry Rice on the outside. Ron Heller for the injured John Frank at tight end. Steve Wallace, Jesse Stopolo, Randy Cross, the veteran at center, Guy McIntyre, and Harris Barton, the front 5. Rice to the left. Wilson also on that side. Montana throws on first down. Dumps it off to Rathman. And the fullback gains 3 in the grasp of Simon Fletcher, number 73. It'll be 2nd down and 7. Defensively for the Broncos, Walt Boyer for the injured Freddie Gilbert. Greg Kraken on the nose, Andre Townsend. The linebackers led by Carl Mecklenburg, number 77. Fletcher, Dennison, and Ryan completing that core. On the corners, Mark Haynes and Jeremiah Castile, with Randy Robbins for the injured Dennis Smith and Mike Harden at safety. 2nd and 7. Montana to Rathman again. And Castile comes up from the corner to make the hit at the 32-yard line. It'll be shy of a first down by 3.
Dick, one of the things you do not want to do in this game is tackle Rathman high. You'll have a headache that will last for hours. He is a bull of a back, great power, is a fine blocker. He's one of the main reasons that this San Francisco rushing attack has been so effective so far in 1988.
A terrific compliment to Roger Craig, number 33, who leads the league in catches with 35 and is the leading rusher for the 49ers. But Montana, thinking that Denver would key on Craig, has gone to Rathman his first 2 passes. This one over the middle, incomplete. Intended for Mike Wilson on that left side. Wilson covered by Castile. And the Broncos have held to open the game and will get the ball on a punt as in comes number 9, Barry Helton. Helton, who was drafted in the 4th round out of Colorado, replaced Max Runeger, who's now kicking for the Cleveland Browns. Gerald Wilhite, number 47, is back at the 25 for Denver. On the skin part of the baseball infield, they've not been able to resod here at Candlestick. A flat kick. You can tell from the sound he didn't hit it just quite right. Wilhite to the 34-yard line. He's playing in front of a lot of family and friends. He was a collegian at San Jose State. 40 yards on the kick, 5-yard return. Sam Kennedy, who leads the 49ers in special teams tackles, gets another. John Elway, he's off to a sluggish start. He's got people not only concerned but curious up in the Mile High City. Tony Dorsett and Sammy Winder, the running backs. Ricky Natil and Vance Johnson, the wideouts, and Clarence Kay, the tight end. Jariga, Bishop, Bryan, Karts, and Lanier, the offensive line. They start from the 35-yard line. Orson Mobley, the tight end, in motion. Elway guns to the far side, complete. Vance Johnson rolled out of bounds at the 46-yard line. It's a 11-yard gain and a first down for Elway and the Broncos.
San Francisco corners tend to play you a little bit loose. Elway's arm makes that dangerous.
Larry Roberts, Michael Carter, perhaps the best nose tackle in football, Kevin Fagan. Charles Haley, he likes to rush the passer. He's a Fred Dean type. Ricky Ellison leads in tackles. Michael Walder and Keena Turner. McKyer and Griffin on the corners. Fuller and Lott, two hard-hitting big safeties. First down, Elway. The quickie is to Johnson on this side, and he's wrapped up immediately by Don Griffin, number 29.
The message from Elway very quickly: if you're going to give us room on the outside, we're going to take advantage of it. Elway dropping quickly. And Dick, you talked about the speculation about Elway. Why is he having so many troubles? The first question you ask is he physically all right? You know his arm is all right the way he's whipping that football, but he is not running as well or escaping as well from traffic so far in this year.
Just 2 yards on that last play. 2nd and 8. 4 plays, 4 passes. Elway down the middle, incomplete to Clarence Kay, the tight end, in a crowd of red-jerseyed 49ers.
I asked John Elway what he had to do today. What was he thinking about? He said very simply, I've got to play within myself. I can't try to make it all happen with a single play. In other words, he can't force the issue. That's what's been getting him in trouble with interceptions.
Well, from his college days at Stanford through his career with Denver, he's the kind of player that just feels that pressure. He wants to do it all. And if the team isn't winning, he tries perhaps too hard. 3rd and 8. The crowd trying to make it difficult. They pick up the blitz. And is it good to Sewell? He comes up with the ball shy of a first down at the San Francisco 44-yard line.
I think they may have given him a little extra on that mark. It's still going to be very, very close. Really a tough call in a sense of where that ball ended up. Very close to a first down, and they're bringing the marker in from the sideline.
Remarkable catch by Sewell with the Broncos. Rick Massey, you heard on NFL Live, staying in Denver with his problems. They have only 3 wide receivers, and Sewell will be performing a lot in that capacity.
Here's Ronnie Lott on the blitz. One of the reasons that play was successful was that Lanier, number 76, one of the fine pass blocking tackles, able to stop it. You'll see Sewell coming across the top of your picture, and watch this great catch with all kinds of pressure from Griffin on his back.
Generous spot, and it is a first down for the Broncos. 4 straight passes for Elway, and he's back to throw again. Underneath to Kay, the tight end, and he's toppled close to another first down at the 34. Griffin and Michael Walter making the tackle.
Clarence Kay went down in the opening game against Seattle, a bruised spinal cord. He came back last week for those 5 receptions you see there, missed greatly by Elway and these Broncos.
5 in a row. That's bingo, isn't it?
That's bingo. And Dick, while they're measuring to see if that's a first down, one of the things you can do to this 49er defense, if you can get the running game going at their defensive ends, they are not big defensive ends. You can put some pressure on them on the corners. So far, Elway has neglected the running game, almost exclusively passing it and attacking those corners, challenging them to say to them, in essence, you want to lay off? We'll work the outside. We'll work the short stuff up the middle.
He sends Nateel and Johnson, his 2 speedy wide receivers, to the right. Clarence Kay, the tight end, to the left. Tony Dorsett and Sammy Winder in the eye behind Elway. That's Nateel in motion. First give is to Winder, and the fullback is to the 29, a gain of 5 and a first down.
Sammy Winder has never really gotten the kind of accolades in my estimation that he has earned. He's not the guy that's going to get the big yardage for you, but look at that average, 5.2. He's as tough and hard-nosed a runner as there is in the league, and he made good yardage on that play.
And he's been Denver's top rusher each of the last 6 years. Won't be this year, at least at this stage, with Tony Dorsett getting the call more often. First down play. Elway going for 6 points. It is intercepted in the end zone by number 22, Tim McKyer. And do they call it an interception?
They're going to give it to him.
Yes.
A great play by McKyer. The plan, obviously, to test the corners early and then to go deep. That ball, underthrown by Elway, was picked off just off the shoe tips. Watch this diving catch by number 22, McKyer, just before it hits the ground. What an athletic play.
Boy, Vance Johnson didn't have a chance. McKyer's second interception. He and Griffin, of course, were two players that signed very late in the summer. And McKyer coming into form. He's from Texas Arlington, drafted in '86, as was Griffin.
I think they're reviewing that play upstairs, Dick. They may have questioned whether it was actually a catch or not. Maybe we can go back and take another look at it, as McKyer had great position, forcing Vance Johnson to the outside, keeping him away from the football, and then diving for that catch at the last second.
Elway's problems continue. His 10th interception. He has only 5 touchdowns. Well, let's take a look. Does the ball hit the ground? Looks like he cradles it neatly. No, I didn't see the ball touch the grass.
On further review, players rule as called on the field. Touchdown. First down.
Great job by McKyer. And you heard
he did catch it without question. It did not. He had his arms underneath it when he took the ball. He then rolled over and cradled that football on top.
Replay officials seeing it as we did. It is the interception. Craig loses 2. Good defense. Robbins coming up from safety, and Mark Haynes playing it tough against the run at his left corner spot.
Robbins comes back out of that stack limping a little bit. San Francisco so tough to defense because they can run and they can throw. Montana, there goes Robbins off the field, and boy, this is a problem that continues to haunt the Broncos as they have had trouble keeping healthy defensive backs on the field.
Robbins for the injured Dennis Smith, so Steve Wilson, 45, comes in to replace him. Here's Rathman with a huge hole. Rathman all the way to the 38-yard line, and San Francisco's initial first down.
A balanced offense is so tough because who do you key on? You key on Craig? Obviously they did that time. And Rathman is going the other direction with a small counter that picks up big yardage.
He's 6'1" and 232 pounds and loves to run over people. He's an outstanding blocker as well. First down at the 38. This time it's Craig. Boy, he's tough to bring down. He still is on his feet. What an effort by Roger Craig to the 49 of Denver.
That kind of second effort will just give you goosebumps. Watch Roger Craig refuse to go down on this play, and I think the Denver Broncos are expecting a whistle. You don't get a whistle until a man stops moving. Roger Craig refuses to stop moving, picks up an extra 8 yards, running out of a third tackle there. Great power.
He's a brilliant player, leading the team in rushing and receiving again. Now it's Rathman as they run straight ahead at that Denver defense. No score here midway through the first quarter. Let's go to New York. Here's an NFL update with Gail Gardner.
All right, thank you, Dick. In Cleveland, the Browns lost quarterback Mike Pagel with a separated shoulder, and they lost the game as well to Seattle. Seahawks' Kurt Warner, 97 yards rushing on the day. Their only touchdown from a yard out. The final was 16-10 Seattle. Let's go back to Candlestick.
So the Seahawks, that's a score of interest to Denver fans, and Rulon Jones, who has been sent back a notch to the second string as far as the defensive end is concerned, gets himself an easy sack.
That's not a sack, that's a baggie. Montana fell down, and all Rulon had to do was touch him, just touch on him, and I don't think that's the kind you want to celebrate over.
Coach Dan Reeves of the Denver Broncos. He has called called this a very serious afternoon in San Francisco. He said, we just can't afford to go 2-4 this early. On 3rd and 15, Montana. Knocked down by Simon Fletcher, number 73. So the 49ers, despite 2 outstanding runs by Rathman and Craig, will have to give up the ball.
Montana is at his best when he's in the flow of the game. He's a possession kind of quarterback. When he can get you 2nd and short, when he can have the advantages, he is almost impossible to stop. But on 3rd and long, he's a little bit vulnerable. And you saw that ball batted away by Fletcher using that good height to take advantage of it.
Elton to kick. Will Height back for Denver at the 10. Oh, Steve Sewell very close to blocking that one. Takes a San Francisco bounce. And Will Height with a block on the first 49er down. Sidney actually gave Denver 20 yards. That was a 20-yard block.
It was Sidney coming to the outside and leaving his post right behind the center, who almost caused a problem there. They took one of the men out of coverage, brought Sidney outside in motion to send him upfield. He almost made the big play, but of course that's legal to block as long as you don't show fair catch. If you show fair catch, then you're not allowed to block down there.
Just enough to slow him down, or Sidney would have had that ball inside the 5-yard line. Denver, as you saw, huddling with Reeves on the sidelines. Play called, and then they come right to the line of scrimmage. Dorsett in the eye. No score. Halfway through the first quarter. It's Winder again, and he's to the 24-yard line.
Trying to establish something up inside, and that's dangerous turf. That's Michael Carter's turf. You see Fagan up off the ground. Carter at 285 pounds, playing much lighter than he did in the past. Last year it was said he got up as high as 320, although his official weight about 310. But I'll tell you, he is a monstrous force inside, working on Billy Bryant, veteran center for the Broncos.
Silver medalist in '84 in the shot put. Sam Grady was a gold medalist. He's the man wide to the right, number 83 for Denver. Elway is dropped for a sack at the 18. Jeff Fuller coming in on a safety blitz.
The 49ers pulled all the stops last week. In fact, the last couple of weeks have been coming with a whole variety of blitzing packages. And this is something that Elway has been able to get away from. Traditionally able to escape this kind of pressure. Not so here. You saw Fuller from the right-hand side coming in for the sack.
11th time this year that Elway has been sacked. Brings up 3rd down and 13. Elway out of the shotgun. Ronnie Lott moving up on the line of scrimmage. We welcome Kansas City and Houston. A long pass downfield, incomplete. Elway trying to hit his tight end, Clarence Kay, on a 3rd down pass, and so that brings up the punting team. 4th down and 13, no score. We're 6 minutes and 10 seconds remaining in the first quarter here at Candlestick Park in San Francisco.
So far, both teams really unable to get on track on offense. Both defenses coming up with big plays to shut things down.
Mike Coran, who is the top punter in the NFL by far. His net average is 41-7. Taylor and McKyer are deep. A high boot. Fair catch in the sun, and that'll take a bounce. Picked up by Taylor, and Taylor out of bounds at midfield. So the Broncos watching one man call fair catch, the ball bouncing, and the other picking it up. And Taylor, who had the punt return for a touchdown against the Lions, alertly takes it all the way to midfield. 50-yard punt, 16-yard return. Dan Reeves unhappy. They mark the out of bounds at the 48-yard line. We welcome those of you who have been watching the New York Jets and Cincinnati Bengals. 5:57 remaining in the first quarter here at Candlestick. No score. San Francisco with the ball at the 48. Montana down the middle. Jerry Rice to the 25-yard line. This is the deepest penetration by either team in the first quarter. 27 yards on the play.
What an incredible receiver Rice is. Unbelievable kind of play. He sees double team coverage from most everyone. Michael Haynes pushing him off, and the deep safety who was supposed to be there to help didn't show up. And Cherry Rice, who is the strongest receiver in the NFL, shows you some great running after the catch.
22 catches this year. He was the National Football League's most valuable player last year. Right to Craig.
Oh, what great acceleration.
Randy Robbins back in the game after limping off earlier, able to run him out of bounds after a 5-yard gain.
Is there a better conditioned athlete in the NFL, Dick?
Boy, did you see him yesterday? He could pose for muscle modeling. He's lost 10 pounds. His coach Bill Walsh says that he was one of the few players he's ever seen. He laments the last day of practice every year. He just loves to play football. Lost 10 because he's been moved from fullback to halfback.
Works out 3 times a day in the off season. Now that's dedication.
Second down 5. Rathman, the fullback, and Carl Mecklenburg is there to say hello.
Carl Mecklenburg playing with a cast on that right thumb, a Bennett's fracture on that right hand, and the big cast has been a bit of a problem for him. Stopped him, he said last week, from making a couple of tackles. But Mecklenburg, and you'll see him inside, 77, right in the middle of your picture. Watch how quickly he diagnoses the play, gets up inside, and boy, he just looks like a bulldogger coming up in there to take down a very tough Rathman.
Bill Walsh, high in his praise, the San Francisco coach, of Mecklenburg's talent, called him one of the very best in the league. Third down 3. Little misdirection, but Craig caught from behind. The play made by 99 Sean Knight, second-year man from BYU, and so the 49ers will have to go for the field goal.
Knight, who is larger than most of those defensive linemen. This has always been an undersized Denver defense, and they've tried to bulk up that front 7 over the last few years. They're hoping that Knight will help them to do that, because they're having some trouble when people run right at them. They have problems.
Mike Koper, 8 for 13 this year. This is a 37-yard attempt. Montana to hold, and San Francisco has the early lead, 3-0. 3 minutes, 42 seconds remaining in the opening quarter. The 49ers by 3. Welcome back to San Francisco's Candlestick Park. The 49ers leading 3-0. And this kickoff is sponsored by Budweiser, the king of beers. Mike Koper, who just nailed a 37-yard field goal. And at the other end for Denver, number 84, Ricky Natil, and Ken Bell, number 35. With 3:42 remaining, opening quarter. Denver gets the ball, and it's Natil, a speedster from Florida. But well done by the special teams of the 49ers. About a 25-yard return to the 23, and Denver trailing 3-0 will put it in play from there. 3:32 remaining in the first quarter. A beautiful October day along the bay. San Francisco leading 3-0 late in the first quarter. Dick Enberg with Merlin Olsen.
Dick, as much as I enjoyed the great coverage from the Olympics in Seoul, it's good to have you back here. And believe me, we enjoyed watching you and all the troops from NBC doing that great job of covering the 24th Olympiad.
Thank you. With all those Hall of Fame announcers you've been working with, I'm expecting a lot of ad-libs to do adjectives.
We've got a few. We brought a few back.
Here comes Denver using that sideline huddle with a timeout. Rather than re-huddling on the field, they just go right to the line of scrimmage. Something that Sam White and the Bengals have used effectively. Denver starting from the 22. Elway to Tony Dorsett. And Dorsett out across the 30-yard line. Elway started the game, first possession for the Broncos, by completing his first 5 passes, and had moved the team down to the 25 of San Francisco, only to be intercepted by Tim McKyer.
If you're going to throw the football against San Francisco, you've got to control the nose man. Watch Billy Bryant, the center, and Keith Bishop here, both doubling down on Michael Carter, the nose tackle, to keep him out of the traffic flow, to give Elway time to get that quick pass off to Dorsett.
We welcome New England and Green Bay. That network that has seen Green Bay win its first of the year and win impressively. And this is Sammy Winder breaking into the open. Finally wrestled down by 22. Tim McKyer, a first down for the Broncos at the San Francisco 47-yard line.
When you have a Tony Dorsett in the backfield, it's obvious that you've got to keep an eye on him. That opens the way for number 23, Sammy Winder, popping up quickly inside. And that's a great tackle. That's Lott, actually 42 rather than 22, but Lott looks like he had to go to that leg and just kind of ride him to get him down.
23 yards for Winder on the run to match his uniform number. Orson Mobley, big tight end in motion. Incomplete at the 37-yard line. Griffin on the coverage. Natil, the intended receiver, just to bring you up to date on some of those scores. Those that have been watching us from the opening kickoff, Green Bay 45-3 over New England as the Packers have their first win. And here are some of the other finals. Cincinnati still unbeaten. Their best start matches their best start ever in Bengal history. Seattle with a big win at Cleveland. Houston in a tough one at home against Kansas City. And Chicago leading Detroit 24-7 in the fourth. Here 3-0 San Francisco. 2 minutes left in the first quarter. Elway on 2nd and 10. Open and incomplete is Vance Johnson running right into the teeth of that 49er defense, and you know that number 42 is going to be around you when you run that pattern, and that can be hazardous to one's health.
One of the things that Ronnie Lott brings back to this defense, he's been out with a hamstring injury, and he came back with a bang last week against the Detroit Lions, and he'll put some hurt on you back there. He's an intimidator. He and Fuller both, and when you run in there, you got to look for him because he'll take your head off.
Elway, after completing his first 5 passes of the game, has missed his second 5, one of them intercepted. Gets away from Haley, throws to the far sidelines, and it's complete to Johnson, and it appears he has enough for the first down just near the 36.
And Dick, as Elway dropped back, he stepped onto that skin turf, and it's very slick. Foot slipped out, almost fell, regained his balance, was able to get up and throw that pass, and that's where Elway's strength is in those long passes.
10-minute ticker. The Rams easy winner at Atlanta. Washington over Dallas. Minnesota edging a tough Tampa Bay team at home. Miami, LA Raiders no score. Pittsburgh, Phoenix no score. 14-0. San Diego early. That's a surprise against the Saints. Saints starting 4-1, tied with the Rams in San Francisco atop the NFC West. On first down, Elway shoots it incomplete. Sewell was the intended receiver, and Griffin there to make the play. Check that McKyer there to make the play for the 49ers.
McKyer all over him. Let's go back to that previous play. We mentioned the skinned area on the turf and the slickness. Watch Elway step back onto that skinned turf, actually slid on the edge of the regular turf even before he got to the skinned area. Got away, but look at that ball thrown right on a string, and an easy first down. Nothing gained there. 2nd and 10. Michael Carter. Centers, smart centers, working on an eager nose tackle. Occasionally just squeeze the football a little bit.
95 defense, 5 yards, still 2nd down.
Well, he's a great player. Carter from SMU, 4 times the NCAA indoor and 3 times the outdoor shot put champion from Dallas high school system. He is 6'2" and 285, might be a little heavier than that, but boy, can he charge off the ball.
Well, he's about 285 right at the moment, but he is an explosive, that explosion that you need to throw his shot, he uses to explode off the line of scrimmage.
2nd and 5. Good protection for Elway underneath to his tight end, and a first down at the 23-yard line. Another catch for Clarence Kay. For Herschel Walker at the University of Georgia.
You can see why they've missed Clarence Kay so much when he's been out with an injury. He is not only a great blocker, but he has turned himself into a fine control receiver, and he's strong with that football after he catches it. He'll turn upfield and run right over people.
That leaves only Sammy Winder in the backfield with Elway.
It's a good drive for Denver.
Away, protected well, and then it's knocked in the air and complete. Deflected at the line of scrimmage. Jeff Stover, one of the 49ers in Elway's face.
Stover, another shot putter, didn't even play college football. They've got a couple of them on this team. The other thing they do have here is a bunch of people who can rush the passer. And George Seifert, who's the defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49er team, loves to get you in long yardage situations, brings those specialists onto the field, and sicks them on the quarterback.
We're talking with Bill Walsh about how the game has changed in the last 10 years, and he said, just in that regard, substitution by situation, the nickel packages. Elway guns it to Dorsett, incomplete. Good coverage. Jeff Fuller was right there with Dorsett.
Danny Stubbs, one of those flyers. Again, the blitz from Fuller, who comes up in a long yardage situation to almost a linebacking position, that nickel linebacking position. Great speed in on Elway before Elway could take more than a couple of steps.
Third down and 10 at the 22. The second drive for Denver deep into 49er territory. The other ended in an end zone interception by McKyer. Elway complete to Vance Johnson at the 10-yard line. A 12-yard gain, and the Broncos continue their drive. Elway actually had the room to run for the 10, but saw Johnson break into the clear.
He made a smart play, though. He knew that he had the first down, and he has such confidence in his receivers and in his arm that he just zipped that football in there for the first down.
But they'll have to go the full 10 yards on first and goal. 10 tough yards to buy.
That's the bad news.
3-0 San Francisco, final seconds, first quarter. Little misdirection, and Sewell did not fool the 49ers. He stacked up right at the line of scrimmage.
A little inside reverse play, and Ellison is so quick inside. Here the shot that ends the first quarter, and they'll change ends of the field.
Welcome back to Candlestick Park. They expect a possible record crowd today, near 65,000 fans. They've added some seats since last year, and the attraction of the Broncos and Elway, who of course played his college ball in the Bay Area at Stanford, and a beautiful football day. Now the bad news for Denver, they are at the just inside the 10-yard line, and the ball is spotted on a loose area of new sod that covered the baseball pitching mound.
The other bad news is they're going to have to deal with that skinned area to the outside, and the footing is treacherous, and you see that Denver has not scored a touchdown in 7 quarters. Elway with 3rd and 10 or 2nd and 10 would love to put one in here.
To Natil, and broken up nicely. Tim McKyer, who made the interception in the first quarter in the end zone, really threw the blanket on Natil.
Absolutely a brilliant defensive play. Watch McKyer concentrating man-to-man. He just takes a quick peek and then goes up high right through the hands of Ricky Natil to take that football away from him. That is a fine man-to-man defensive play.
So 3rd and goal for Denver. Johnson to the left. Sewell to the right. And so is Natil far right.
Blitz.
Lott coming on the blitz. The throw to Sewell. Oh! And Dwight juggle it in. Had his hands on it twice, but couldn't pull it in.
The same kind of blitz that Ronnie Lott used last week to sacrifice or to knock down Chuck Wan. He timed it out. He didn't quite hit it, but still got great pressure in there. But Sewell had a chance at it. Bounced it, as you said, Dick, and almost controlled that football.
Rich Carlos, who had a busy Sunday at San Diego last week, 7 field goal tries, made 4 and missed 3 easy ones, gets a 27-yard attempt to tie.
He missed 2 off the skin turf in San Diego, so he's glad that at least he has some grass to kick off here.
And And the game is tied as Carlos, who has missed only 3 all year, is now 11 for 14. 3-3 early in the second.
And by United Airlines, rededicated to giving you the service you deserve. Come fly the friendly skies. And by Diet Coke. Enjoy Diet Coke. You're going to drink it just for the taste of it.
The Denver Broncos on a short field goal have tied it at 3-all, and now Carlos will kick it off. Taylor and DuBose at the goal line for San Francisco. It's a short kick. DuBose at the 15. And out to the 30. So a short Carlos kick, 15-yard return, and San Francisco in business at their 30-yard line. And a timeout.
Ronnie Lott, the timing blitz will be picked up by Wilhite here as you watch him time it out, so he's firing in on Elway. Now watch this heartbreaking miss of a chance at a touchdown as Sewell gets his hands on the football but could not control it.
And the Broncos settled for the field goal. Half minute gone, second quarter. It's Rathman testing the center of the Denver defense out to the 34-yard line. Jim Ryan makes the tackle. Checking on other action around the NFL. Late games, Miami Raiders scoreless in the second. Pittsburgh Phoenix tied at 7. San Diego trying to surprise New Orleans 14-3 down at Jack Murphy Stadium. And here it's 3-all. Bill Walsh and Dan Reeves, the 49ers and the Broncos, with 14 minutes left in the half. Underneath, oh, almost intercepted. It was intended for Wilson, and it looked as if he hit Castile, who was looking at the man, not the ball.
Ball thrown behind the receiver, streaking across, and he had a little bit of room there as he had beaten Castile coming all the way across. But Montana did not get that ball in front of him, and that's one of Montana's great strengths, is his accuracy, his ability to quickly read the defense, make the decision, and accurately deliver that football has separated him from so many quarterbacks around the league. That and his great ability to come back and come from behind, which is legendary.
And from injuries, 182 career touchdowns for number 16 Montana. And it's Wilson, Steve Wilson, from a safety position, drifting in to make the sack and a 7-yard loss.
A coverage sack in the sense that Montana did not find an open receiver, and he likes to drift to his right. He's kind of pushed back to his left in this case and looks like he just is out of sync. Rathman had done a good job of holding off the blitzing Wilson right there, but couldn't hold him off long enough. He puts the rope on Montana and puts him down.
Barry Helton to punt as Montana will have to wait for another time. Wilhite at the other end, a wobbly boot. Wilhite into the sun at the 31. The former San Jose State star is down at the 38-yard line. 42-yard kick, 7 yards on the return by Wilhite, who has come back from an injury. Timeout, 13 left in the half. Welcome back to Candlestick Park. Sunny San Francisco. It's tied at 3 with 13.5 minutes remaining in the first half. Dick Enberg with Merlin Olsen. The Broncos with their sideline huddle have the football after the punt at their own 39-yard line.
They feel the advantage they get out of that is that the other team doesn't know who is coming in exactly, so they have to wait to send the defense onto the field.
Sewell in motion. It's Sammy Winder, no gain.
This is the kind of situation that the 49ers love. Second and long yardage. They'll be in their nickel package early, and they'll be coming after Elway, putting a squeeze on John Elway.
It's interesting that Tony Dorsett has not had a carry thus far. Winder, that was his 4th rush.
Tony told me before the ball game he wanted to get more involved with the passing game. He said, I really kind of feel I can help with those short passes.
He does have 1 reception, 8 yards in the first quarter. Second and 10, Elway.
There it is.
Dorsett one-on-one, but he can't get away from Michael Walder, who wraps him up at the 37. A flag down, and they may have gotten a piece of the face mask.
Looks like, is that Danny Stubbs, 96, the last man out there? Personal foul, San Francisco defense. Boy, you don't want to do that. You got a man on the ground already. He's not going anywhere. No sense in piling on.
And instead of a loss of a couple of yards, it'll be a 15-yard mark off to the San Francisco 48-yard line and a first down.
Unnecessary roughness, number 96. 15 yards, first down.
Dick, the difference right now between the Tony Dorsett of 1988 and the Dorsett in his prime is not that he doesn't have good moves or good power or good strength, but he does not have the acceleration, does not have the leg strength. It used to be that he could just put that quick slide to the outside, and he was gone. You saw the pop right there at the end on Stubbs that got him the 15-yard penalty.
Rookie mistake by Stubbs from Miami. Elway to Johnson. Didn't quite turn in time to pick up the ball. It was catchable. Griffin on the coverage.
Johnson working with a dislocated foot or dislocated bone in the foot that makes it difficult for him. He's not quite back to speed as you look at him finish that pattern. And I'm sure that cutting and accelerating out of the break are problems for him. And I think that will destroy the timing between a good quarterback and his wide receivers.
Elway has a man open, and it's a first down at the 37-yard line. Vance Johnson with another catch and a 15-yard gain.
Bill Walsh said yesterday, as we talked about John Elway and the problems he has had, shook his head. He said, I hope that he doesn't come back and forget about all those difficulties against us. And certainly Elway off to a fine start in this game, even though he's had a few passes dropped and has overthrown occasionally, showing some good choices in his receivers and getting the football to them.
Check that, an 11-yard gain on the play and a first down. Whoops, a little mix-up. That's a bad sign for any offense, as now Elway is changing plays. 5 seconds on the shot clock.
He gets it off, and he fumbled it.
Yeah, as soon as you have that one mistake, it's almost inevitable, isn't it?
Elway's so upset in the fact that they had missed a couple of timeouts because they misfired, and I'm sure one of the things that they are talking about constantly is let's not lose those timeouts early. Let's go ahead and run the play if we possibly can, but he tried to hurry too fast on that one.
Roger Craig getting some work, maybe some
flexibility. I think they're just stretching out his lower back. I don't think he's hurt. I think he's just stretching him out.
Second down. Elway working from the skin part of the infield. They'll start siding tomorrow. Underneath to Kay, the big tight end, gets a couple of extra yards with second effort as he fought out of the grasp of Charles Haley and gets it to the 28.
A couple of big bulls working on each other. Haley, both of these teams, Simon Fletcher and Charles Haley, both lineman turned linebacker. And Haley has become a most proficient outside linebacker. Great blitzer, good pressure on the quarterback, strong at the point of attack. And it's showing you there that he can run with the receiver as well.
Third down, it's a long one, actually closer to 2 yards. Both Winder and Dorsett behind Elway. In trouble. Dumps it off to Kay. Nope, they said he was in the grasp and control. Elway back at the 44. Michael Walter got him. That took them out of a possible field goal.
We talked about the fact that Elway not escaping as well, and so many times over the years as we have watched Elway get away from situations like that and marveled at his ability to escape the pressure, has not been able to do that so far in 1988 with great regularity. He can still do it occasionally, but that's the kind of thing that he used to get away from almost without fail.
You think that's just age and all those?
I think maybe just the pounding is catching up with him, Dick, and he's losing a little of that great speed that he had.
So fourth down and 16. John Taylor at the 10. Moran has been brilliant in this situation, just dumping the ball inside the 20. A whistle's going to blow it dead. And look at that kick. It would have been out of bounds at the 1-yard line.
And they're going to, robbery of Moran, who put it out as well as you can kick the football. And now they're going to, well, you know they're going to take this penalty.
Horan, just to underline how brilliant he's been as the Denver punter, he has kicked 10 balls inside the 20 with no touchbacks.
5 yards, it's still 4th down.
Yeah, that would have been out on the 1-yard line.
And that net, by the way, is better than a lot of the gross punting averages. In fact, better than the gross punting average of Helton.
Well, he's just under 46 yards a kick, but net 41.7, as you can see. Leads the NFL in all those kicking categories. McKyer joins Taylor. Make that Griffin back.
That one's a good one, too.
So for the 11th time, out of bounds at the 5-yard line with Horan. He's got the accuracy of a baseball pitcher. He's just hitting those sidelines. Time out.
Send him to Las Vegas.
Under the blue skies of San Francisco, California. Denver and the 49ers tied at 3. Just under 10 minutes left in the half. And the World Series is ahead. The excitement of the baseball playoffs. And Saturday night, 8 o'clock Eastern time from the National League City, either New York or Los Angeles, you'll see Game 1. And of course, the Oakland A's just across the bay currently engaged with the Boston Red Sox, trying to sweep them out in 4. And the A's lead at 2-1 in the 7th. Jose Canseco with his 3rd home run, his 3rd hit, and another home run for the big power hitter for the A's.
Great year of sports coverage, the Olympics, the World Series, and on to the Super Bowl.
And we got the Breeders' Cup too.
All right.
From Churchill Downs in Louisville. Great year for NBC Sports. Montana play action in the end zone. Going for Taylor. He's got it at the 50 and dragged down at the 40. Haynes saved the touchdown, but Montana from his 5-yard line. Good play action.
John Taylor, back from a 30-day suspension for substance abuse, made his presence felt with that long punt return of 77 yards last week. And as they double cover Jerry Rice on the other side, he sprints away from single coverage by Mike Haynes right there, Mark Haynes, and gets the big reception down to the 41.
So 50 yards for Montana on a perfect throw to Taylor. 3-all the score, 9 minutes to go, first half. It's Craig. Wrestled down by Michael Brooks, former linebacker at LSU, and what a win for the Bayou Tigers against Auburn last night.
Boy, you don't want to let Craig out to that outside. He has such great acceleration, and I think the thing that separates the great backs when they can get to the outside is very often the ability to sense the openings, those eyes, the ability to see the openings. He has great eyes when he gets to the outside.
In fact, he earned the nickname Catfish because his eyes are so big. When you see pictures of him as he's carrying the ball, they're just wide open. And they are right now looking for the end zone. He's all the way to the 5-yard line, but a flag is down back at the 28.
I'm afraid they're going to signal a holding call against Jesse Sapolo.
Bringing it back, it is a hold.
Jesse, who does such a great job, as both of those guards, McKyer and Sapolo, do.
And there's an injured Bronco involved in the tackle down at the 5-yard line.
Holding, 74 offense, 10 yards, it's still 2nd down.
Steve Wallace.
Steve Wallace, not Sapolo. Both there on the spot. We can't see the number on the injured Bronco. Steve Antonopoulos, the trainer, out to look at him. Watch the left-hand side. You got Sapolo driving to the outside. Wallace right there, 74, right in the middle of your screen, and you see him with a handful of shirts. But look at that great pull away there. Craig accelerating and getting away. Robbins, 28, Jeremiah Castile, the injured player, number 28, and it looked like he grabbed his left shoulder as he rolled underneath. It was Randy Robbins. Maybe we can see the end of that play again. Randy Robbins rolled over the top of Jeremiah Castile, and it looked like Castile was grabbing his left shoulder. Here's the play. Watch number 48 coming in from the right-hand side of your screen, and there's Castile. Now, as he rolls over the top, you see the shoulder. Watch Castile reach for that shoulder right there.
So Jeremiah Castile injured, and it's already a very soft, wounded, deep secondary for Denver with the loss of Dennis Smith. And Bruce Plummer is not in uniform today. And Dan Reeves
just shaking his head. He said, how many are we going to lose? They have really been battered. Joe Collier, the defensive coordinator, having to do a smoke and mirrors trick with this Denver defense, and yet they have played very well the last 2 weeks.
There's Joe Collier, the defensive wizard of the Broncos. He's been in the American Football League and the AFC throughout his career, longest ever seniority in that regard. When they hand out the watches, Collier's going to be first in line.
He's not going to have to give him a watch. He's going to be here forever, I think.
He's the Big Ben. Castile out, and Steve Wilson has replaced him on the corner, and you can bet Montana will go to work on Wilson. Sidney trying to throw. Sidney downfield to Rice. Drops the ball. He had a touchdown in his mitts. It was a little short, but Rice won't lose many of those.
Sometimes when a man is covered, the unintentional short pass becomes the perfect pass. It was in this situation, as Rice, who knew where the ball was able to cut back underneath the coverage, but couldn't keep his hands on the football.
The play that the 49ers used last year successfully. Harry Glenroy Sidney III to Jerry Rice. Third down and 9. Montana to Rice. Jerry Rice to the 1-yard line. 6-yard line. Check that, to 6.
A fine block at the end of that run by John Taylor, number 82. Allowed for some extra room for Rice, but he doesn't need much. What a powerful runner. I've got to tell you, it scared the heck out of you. Here comes Jerry Rice all the way across the field underneath, and it's about a 3-yard pass. Look what he does. Look at that powerful running stride. There was the block briefly at the top of your picture. The Rice all the way down just inside the 7-yard line. First and goal.
Hustling tackle by Carl Mecklenburg, trailing the play. First and goal. Montana to Wilson. And the other Wilson was there to knock it away. Steve Wilson from Mike. Not related.
Working on Castile's shoulder on the sideline.
A reminder, our viewers will have the Budweiser Most Valuable Player in today's game. That'll be announced at the conclusion.
From Castile's reaction as we were watching him, I don't think the news is good about getting back into this ballgame.
Second and goal. Montana brings him up. It's tied at 3. 7 minutes to go. Second quarter. Big Craig. Rice is out of the end zone. Clearly out of the end zone. He had beaten Steve Wilson, but was unable to stay in that 10-yard patch.
Bill Walsh's offense always greatly imaginative. All kinds of people moving. Watch the bootleg fake here. You've got to honor Craig's running ability. Montana drifting to his right as he does so well, and that's a perfect play, except for the fact that Rice only had 1 foot barely inside the end zone. The other one clearly in that white stripe.
What did his college coach, Archie Cooley, say about him? He could catch a BB at night.
Boy, I tell you, he has great hands and great concentration. What an asset.
Out of Mississippi Valley State. Quarterback draw. Touchdown, Montana.
The 2 plays that I feared most as a defensive lineman were the quarterback draw and the quarterback rollout. You're playing so many things. As you see Joe Collier just shaking his head and saying, hey, you've got to look for that quarterback coming up inside. But you've got Roger Craig blasting outside. You've got Jerry Rice coming on one side, and all of a sudden, room up the middle.
Kofer's tried for point, a high snap, but a good hold. As Helton, the punter, or second Young, the backup quarterback Steve Young spots it, and the 49ers lead it by 7. Nobody at home for Joe Montana on the draw.
Boy, I'll tell you, look at the room inside. When you stretch your defense, as we just turn it loose and go ahead and run it. Watch Montana. They're stunning on the right-hand side. The man who's supposed to come in and fill does not arrive. That's 71 Cragen. And, of course, Mecklenburg had run to the outside, run himself out of the play. Montana almost walked into that end zone.
So Montana, who started the drive with that pass from his own end zone, 55 yards to Taylor, and completes it with a 6-yard draw as they go 95 yards in 8 plays.
Horizon to horizon.
Here comes Natil, feeling his way to the 20. And the tackle by Jim Fawnhorse, 55 of San Francisco. You don't get many of those 95-yard drives for scores, but it was Montana with big plays, 55 yards to Taylor. Then that pass to Jerry Rice on 3rd and 9 was good for 33 yards. And then on 3rd and goal, the draw works perfectly. Jeremiah Castile back to the dressing room. X-rays on the shoulder is the word. No official announcement beyond that. You like this idea of the sideline huddle?
I think it's a good one. I don't think you lose anything, and I think you gain a little surprise element, at least a few seconds timing, and the defense very often will respond by calling the defense audibly, but it may make a difference in the personnel out there. So yes, I like it. Blitz, look out.
Just does get rid of it as he was being pressured hard by Michael Walder, who came in untouched.
One of the things that Dan Reeves worried about was their ability to pick up the wide variety of blitzes that would be thrown at them by the 49ers today. And, of course, that particular play stressful as they were not able to pick it up.
The Dolphins, their defense has really developed, as you predicted it would at the start of the season. Merlin, 14-0 at Los Angeles. Phoenix with a 3-point lead against Pittsburgh at home. And San Diego's 14-0 lead is melted away to just a 1-point advantage. Here it's 10-3 San Francisco. 6.5 minutes remaining in the first half. 2nd and 10 for Elway. Lots of time, and then from behind, brought down by 94 Charles Haley.
3rd sack of the day on Elway, as Haley, who has proven to be a most effective sacker and blitzer, able to streak in and then just reach back as Elway's trying to run out of his grasp. Watch the way he just leaps out and grabs Elway by the back of the shirt. Looks like he's out of the picture. Look at him right there. The back of the shirt. That's a clothes hanger there. Pulls him down from behind.
So a half dozen sacks for Haley on the year to lead the 49ers. 3rd and long. Elway having trouble with his footing. Down he goes at the 21, where it'll be 3rd and 9, and the punting team comes on, and the fans cheer the 49er defense.
Ronnie Lott, who had scolded the fans here about their involvement in the game, doing some cheerleading. I'll tell you, the 49er defense and the 49er offense taking charge here in the 2nd quarter.
Well, there was 2 plays in that sequence, Merlin, that again underlined your point that it's a different Elway. He doesn't quite have that extra half step or strength to break away from the tackler in the open field. Moran booms a spiral deep to Taylor at his 26. Watch out! And only because he was jammed in traffic is Taylor stopped at the 47-yard line of Denver. Otherwise, he might have had another punt return for a score, and there's an injured Bronco on the play.
55, Rick Dennison, I believe, starting linebacker, who's quickly tended to by the trainers. And a 2nd Bronco down, closer to us on the sideline. We can't see the number yet on the other Bronco.
Boy, the rash of injuries hitting all teams, particularly the quarterback position, where 4 more quarterbacks were knocked out of action today.
We talked in our pregame show about the danger to the quarterbacks, but it is getting to be a more and more physical game. Let's see if we can see who the injuries go down. That was Bishop, 54, one of the players. Hard to tell. Boy, there's a lot of crashing going on inside.
Dennison is off on under his own power. There are the 4 quarterbacks as the attrition continues at that position.
Frightening. We talked to Marty Schottenheimer early in the year, the last preseason game, and he was talking about Ernie Accorsi, their general manager, saying the 3rd quarterback was an important role on that roster. They are now going to a 4th quarterback. I don't even know who that is. Kosar is down.
Don Strock is
all right,
4th.
Danielson is down. Pagel is down, and now Don Strock will become their 4th quarterback of the year, going into their 6th game, and actually into their 5th game.
And they say now Kosar, it may be another month before he returns. And the Browns today, one of the teams that were favored to make it through the playoffs on the AFC side, were defeated by the Seattle Seahawks 16-10. Largent, by the way, continued his streak. He had at least 1 catch. That's 158 games for Largent.
That was Mark Mumford, number 51, another linebacker who was helped to the sideline. So 2 linebackers hurt on that play.
Good field position for the 49ers. Roger Craig. Mecklenburg got a piece of him first, and it's Craig short yardage to the 43. Michael Brooks also in on the play, a gain of 4.
The philosophy of this Denver defense is to shift around just before the snap of the ball. You see them moving. You'll see them trying to stunt their people left and right. The philosophy being that they're not as physical. They're not able to match up man-to-man, especially with this 49er offensive line, which is much bigger. And Collier tries to design ways to protect his people from those man-to-man confrontations.
Rathman wrapped up nicely by 61. Andre Townsend, Mississippi graduate, and boy, that Old Miss, what a win for them at Alabama. A rare victory for the Rebs in Tuscaloosa.
Townsend, who is a very physical player for one that's not huge in size. His quickness, his biggest asset. Quickly to those gaps, uses good leverage, good hand slap.
3rd down and 4. Montana to Rathman, breaks the tackle of Ryan and has the 1st down inside the 30.
Montana so quick at reading the defense. His eyes were right all the way. He's looking to his right all the way, but seeing the defense, knew that Rathman was going to be open to the left. Now watch him. Looking to his right, just a quick look right there, and then all the way back over this way. And boy, I'll tell you, it's hard to stay with a guy when you see the quarterback looking the other way. Jim Ryan, number 50, just ticking the toes of Rathman. But he still made good yardage, picked up the 1st down.
Rathman outweighing Ryan, the linebacker, by almost 10 pounds. Leading 10-3 late in the 1st half. Montana goes for Wilson. And it was broken up. Mike Harden and Steve Wilson there at the goal line for Denver.
Here, Wilson's banging shoulders with help from Harden, but Montana really in control of this ball game. Things are working for the 49ers right now. And this is when he's at his best. He has all the options on his side. Brooks, the blitz, took a little bit of his time, but that ball briefly in the hands of Wilson, who had a chance at the touchdown.
Mike Wilson, who played at Washington State, has 15 catches coming in, 3 of those for touchdowns, and he's going to get a lot of single coverage because of the attention paid to Jerry Rice. Roger Craig. Harden finally bulldogs him at the 14-yard line. Another 1st down, 14 more for Craig.
A great lead block by Tom Rathman, who cut Jim Ryan, number 50, right off his feet. You should see it at the right-hand side of your picture as Rathman, well, he's outside of your picture. You'll see the result of it. There's the stack up right there. Just took Ryan right off his feet, and Roger Craig did the rest. Bulldog down by Harden on the sideline, but has the 1st and 10.
Well, what a player Craig is. Every game the 49ers have played, he's gained at least 100 yards receiving and rushing. Montana intercepted at the line of scrimmage. One of the linemen going up and pulling it down. It's Boyer, Walt Boyer, the defensive end from Arizona State, leaping up to try to deflect the ball, and it's stuck right in those big mitts of his.
Too much time for Joe Montana. That's one of those where you see the guy and he's open. You know he's got a touchdown if you can get it there. Watch him. You'll see the receiver break open coming from the right-hand side. Montana sees him, tries to just take it over the top. And there was the receiver briefly on the right-hand side. but Boyer able to go up into the air and put his hands on that one. That's a basketball play if you ever saw one.
And what a huge play in this game as Montana driving the 49ers toward what appeared to be a lead of 17-3. Instead, the interception by Boyer, and Denver stops him at the 14.
I think it's an offsides on Carter.
2:55 left in the half, and incomplete as they went long for Vance Johnson.
And Dick, that's so characteristic of this Denver defense over the years, as they have been able to come up with a turnover as the team was pushing down toward that end zone. A turnover, an interception, a fumble, something to get the play, get the drive stopped.
He was Boyer one time was flirting with the racing rattlesnakes, so he was kind of shaking the tail there of that one.
He sure reached up and bit Montana. Montana saw a touchdown all the way. That's a call against Michael Carter, his second offsides of the day, and you say, how can a nose tackle be offsides? Again, Carter eager to get in and put the pressure on Elway, a little bit jumpy. And maybe Billy Bryant, who's a veteran of many campaigns, put the little squeeze on that ball to get him moving.
You know well, you had your nose right there many a time, right over the center. Draw play to Dorsett. Out to the 23-yard line, short of a first down. Tony Dorsett, now number 2 all-time in NFL rushing, behind Walter Payton. He leads the Broncos with 345 yards on the ground, and that's second best in the AFC. And there are the numbers as he has passed Jim Brown and Franco Harris into the runner-up spot to Payton.
Got a little stretch to catch up with young Walter.
Walter might come back and play again.
If he gets close, he might do it. Dorsett actually older than Walter, isn't he?
That's right, he is. Dorsett, and a flag goes down as he was stopped right at the line of scrimmage. Maybe a yard gain. Larry Roberts, number 91, who played at Alabama, in to make the tackle. They can ill afford that. It comes with 2:01 remaining in the half.
Would have been third and short, very short. I'm sure they'll take the penalty, would make it about 2nd and 12, moving Denver into extremely long yardage and allowing George Seifert to put his pass rushing specialists out on the field.
Now, you talked about the injuries on the NFL Live show today to quarterbacks, and a lot of theories, and you offered your own. And the defensive packages now, anytime you're looking at second down and more than 6-7 yards, you're going to see the extra defensive backs and those big safeties that play at a linebacker position. Is that part of the problem?
It certainly is. You've got some people who are so capable of getting that real speed rush on a quarterback, of coming with incredible speed and slam them down.
Charge, timeout, San Francisco.
San Francisco going to use a timeout at the 2:01 mark. It's an interesting call. What you're saying then, Merlin, is that the advantage when you get let's take a guy like Ronnie Lott. You see 42. When he's able to move up near the line of scrimmage and just charge full speed and that quarterback doesn't see him, someone has to be hurt, and the quarterback absorbs all the blow.
He's taking some real shots, and it's very difficult now when you can move as many people up and get those rushers or blitzers coming from so many different directions. It's hard to devise a package to protect that quarterback completely. And of course, he is totally vulnerable when he's back there to throw the football. I don't know, and I said it earlier today in our pregame show, how you can protect that quarterback more within the framework of the rules without making some kind of dramatic change. And I said somewhat facetiously, why not add a 12th player to the offense? I mean, they literally have done everything but tie one arm behind the defense's back. Why don't they just give him another player and let us play the game?
You could have an extra back who can't carry the ball and can't receive the ball. He can only be there as a
personal protector.
A protector.
Yeah, either that or another lineman, and he's got to stay in there. Yeah. Well, I tell you, if you talk to defensive players, I mean, they've legalized holding now. They say you can only bump the receivers once. I mean, so much of what has happened has made it difficult to play the game of defense. About all that's left for them was to attack the quarterback.
And that they have. He's really taken the brunt of it. So after the holding penalty, second down, Elway, is there a flag on that? Yes. Yeah, that was an early hit, or at least it appeared to be.
Let's Teal applauding the call, but you saw the pressure. Lott coming on the outside, and that's exactly what we talked about.
Interference, defense, number 21.
Eric Wright, an extra defensive back, former starter. A little too quick in his hit. Let's see it.
Here's the isolation, and you'll see the bump before the ball arrives. Teal driving right off, and there it is without question. Now the defender is allowed to touch that wide receiver, but he cannot change his direction at all.
And there's the 2-minute timeout with 1:58 left in the half, and San Francisco by a touchdown.
Liberty Mutual Insurance presents Legends of the Game. His career started in New York, but before long, the bright lights of Hollywood beckoned. As a lanky defensive end for the Los Angeles Rams, he set an NFL record with 2 safeties in a single game. Who is this legend?
For 75 years, Liberty Mutual has shown companies like IBM, companies like General Mills, and thousands of others how to make their workers' compensation dollars work harder. As a result, they've made Liberty Mutual the largest insurer of America's working men and women.
America believes in liberty. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Fred Dreyer was a headhunter with a special instinct for finding quarterbacks, a talent that made him a legend of the game.
Why don't you join Mazda's Frequent Flyer Club and fly away in a Mazda RX-7 convertible?
Fly away.
Tonight on an all-new Bloopers and Practical Jokes, the Cosby Kids pull a joke on Keisha. Plus hilarious bloopers from Suzanne Summers, Golden Girls, Rue McClanahan, and Betty White tonight.
1 minute and 58 seconds left in the first half. San Francisco leading 10-3. Elway, who completed his first 5 passes, has hit only 6 of 18 cents. And he's under pressure again. Throws it right in the hands of the 49ers. Keena Turner at the 35-yard line. Orson Mobley made the tackle.
That's the kind of play that's gotten Elway in trouble all during this 1988 season. The pressurized throw, the bad choice, the kind of pass that's not going to get him out of trouble, that's only going to get him into the soup. His 10th interception of the year against just 5 touchdowns.
Actually, his 11th.
11th. He's got an earlier one today. That's 11 for him. And boy, those numbers just continue to mount. He's got heat right here, just trying to make the big play when it's possible that all he could have done or should have done is just gotten a little bit extra and gone to the ground.
So from the 34 they mark it. San Francisco, after losing the ball on the interception deep in Denver territory, it's Rathman plowing to the 29-yard line. 1:42 and the clock running. Remember, San Francisco used 1 timeout just before the 2-minute warning.
Keena Turner, so important in this game, has come back off severe and strong knee surgery, still having some trouble with that knee, but very effective as a leader and a linebacker.
Montana to Rathman in the flat. Good open field tackle at the 27-yard line by Randy Robbins of the Broncos. And time is called by San Francisco. That is their second timeout with 1:17 remaining in the half. 49ers threatening to build on their lead. Have to hit him low, and Robbins right at the knees, able to drag him down short of the first down. 3rd and 2. Montana hit as he throws. Rice can't get it. Jerry Rice streaking clear in the end zone, and Montana was leveled as he released the ball.
And he's still on the ground, and boy, that is the kind of blow that has put out a lot of quarterbacks this year. From the blind side, number 75, Rulon Jones, who had 1 sack earlier in this game, Oh, it's not Rulon Jones. Rulon coming from the other set. It's Randy Robbins who came up with that big tackle earlier.
That's what we're talking about here.
That's
the
exactly
defensive
right.
back in clean, unprotected the quarterback, and he has to take that blow. Steve Young to hold for Kofer. And this will be a long one, 43 yards.
Some breeze out there, too.
Uh-oh, and a problem. Although Young, a fine runner. Let's see if he can make something out of it. Cannot. He's out of bounds at the 31-yard line. So Denver on the muff snap saves another 3 points. So they have been dodging bullets, the Broncos, here late in the half, as Montana was intercepted on a little soft pass by a defensive lineman, and now the execution on the snap.
Snap by Cross, the center here, and let's see, just out of the reach, looked like it was off to the left, and Young, who has excellent hands, pulled down a high one earlier, trying to find a receiver, and that's when you call, hey, Geronimo, something, get somebody downfield. Nobody responded, and you practice that during the week, but nobody got out there for Young.
So Denver, with 1 minute 3 seconds remaining in the half, gets another chance to cut into the San Francisco lead. A little shovel pass to Gerald Wilhite out to the 43-yard line. That'll be good enough for a first down. Jeff Stover made the tackle, 11 yards on the play. No huddle, 50-49. You see, that's the official clock. Face, and then he just bats it down. He could have caught it, but would have been for a loss, and he wisely just knocks it down incomplete, and that stops the clock. Did two good things. One, avoided the loss. Two, stopped the clock. 38 seconds to go.
Most importantly, wants to avoid the turnover, and he's had a couple of costly ones here today to add to that total on the year that's getting a little frightening.
At halftime, Len Berman, who that's a yeoman job. Well, no, but I didn't get a report on him yet, and Gail Gardner, who was brilliant in Seoul, will be with us at halftime. Shovel pass again to Gerald Wilhite. Fool Michael Carter.
Good play. Actually, Stubbs.
Danny Stubbs. Yes, 96.
Danny Stubbs out of Miami, who does such a good job of rushing that passer. And that's what they brought him in here for. But he alertly saw what was happening inside. And that play designed to beat the defensive end by suckering him upfield did not work against Stubbs on that particular occasion.
Stubbs was an outstanding high school basketball player in New Jersey, Red Bank, New Jersey, and then migrated down to Miami, where he was on those great Hurricane teams and picked in the early second round by the 49ers, the last draft. Well, Elway and
offensive coaches, the three of them gone at once, I think have really hurt this Denver offense.
And Mark Jackson is one of his three amigos also.
He's had, well, injury problems to add to that.
Third down and 7 for Elway out of the shotgun. Down he goes again. And it's Stubbs, the rookie, with a sack, the 4th sack of the half, and Elway is getting up slowly.
Well, he was twisted on that one.
Charles Haley from one side and Stubbs from the other.
Outside pressure. They're coming in. They're just driving it on Elway. Haley from the right-hand side just pushes over the top of Juriga. Just drives him back. No chance. Stubbs coming in there just blitzing. Boy, I tell you, those just like a pincher. It was like closing a pair of pliers on poor John Elway that time.
So Haley gets the sack, his second of this game and 7th of the season. Elway not really protected well. Didn't have much time to search out a receiver.
In the interception column.
Here's Horan, the NFL's top punter this year, with Taylor back at the 23-yard line. Ball flattens out as it comes down at the 30 and down at the 29-yard line as the 49ers had a block on. 19 seconds left in the half. See if San Francisco take a shot at a long pass to get into field goal range. Only 33 yards for Horan. That's got to be his worst punt, and the wind suddenly picks up, and he was kicking into it.
Kicking into a fierce wind, and when the wind comes into this park, it tends to circle, so it becomes a dangerous wind, not only for the kickers, but also for the passers as well, because that ball tends to move around.
Now, the 49ers lead 10-3, but could well have been in front 20-3 at this point. Walt Boyer, the defensive end, intercepting Montana at the 14 of the Broncos. Then Turner getting it right back for San Francisco, only to find the field goal attempt. Trouble on the execution of the snap and hold. So Montana looking for something to get in field goal range. Goes to Craig, who's knocked out of bounds out at the 41-yard line. 15 seconds left. Now the clock continuing to run. Something's wrong there because you saw the official call timeout with 15 seconds to go, but the clock continued to run. Jim Tunney, the referee, noting that immediately, and will make the correction.
Being down 6 seconds. 14 seconds remaining on the clock. 1-4-14.
Block here as Guidry will come up to put Craig out of bounds. Guidry in there, I'm sure, because of that injury we saw earlier to Jeremiah Castile.
Mike Kofer replaced Ray Wershing, longtime place kicker of the 49ers this year. Kofer from North Carolina State. Denver defense playing very, very loose, so Montana will go underneath. And it's to Rice to the 40, tackled by Jim Ryan. 5 seconds.
Why no timeout here? Have they used them?
They apparently have.
Yes,
because
they
the clock
have.
runs out, and that's the end.
They have.
Of the first half. And a strange first half it was. Elway starting red hot, completing 5 for 5, then getting cold, intercepted in the end zone on the first long drive, and the 49ers wasting a couple of big opportunities late in the half where they could have perhaps distanced themselves to 20-3. But at the half, it's still